I need you to make me love Stephen King. That is the sole purpose of this video. There isn't an author on planet Earth who I want to love more than this man. And I think the reason I want to love him so desperately is because of the sheer size of his catalogue. I did a bit of Google research and he's got about 85, something like that, 82 distinct books to date. Now, if you include his short stories, there's over 200. And I just feel like with a catalogue that big, there's going to be a lot of books in there that I love. So that's what this video is about. It's about you giving me recommendations and maybe telling me where I'm going wrong so far in my Stephen King journey. Before we get into the nitty gritty of the video, grab a cuppa, grab some biscuits if you do. Tell me what your biscuit of choice is for Dunkin'. Mine are custard creams and bourbons. And let's enjoy it. So where I currently stand with Stephen King is that I've read 3 of his books and I didn't really enjoy any of them. This video isn't going to be a crazy long video. It's more about me telling you what my plan is. So I plan on reading a Stephen King book every month until I've pretty much finished his entire catalogue. And that might sound crazy because I've just said to you that I've read 3 of his books and I didn't enjoy them. But his catalogue is huge. It's humongous. There's like 82 books. If you include his short stories, there's over 200 books. There's enough to go at. I did some research and he writes pretty much in every single genre going. So he's got books in horror with The Shining, It and Pet Sematary, psychological thrillers with Misery, Gerald's Game, The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. I've never heard of many of these books. Sci-fi with Tommyknockers, Under the Dome and Running Man, fantasy with the Dark Tower series, The Eyes of the Dragon, fairy tale, crime fiction with Mr. Mercedes, Finding Keepers and Billy Summers, drama / coming of age with The Body and Joyland, apocalyptic and post-apocalyptic with The Stand, Cell and Sleeping Beauties, and then loads of short stories. And breathe. So as you can see from that, the man is wild. He writes in every single genre. I am told, I've been pre-warned by a lot of people that his writing style changes a lot throughout his career because at certain points of his life he's suffering with depression. There's other parts of his life where he's high on drugs all the time. He's had drinking problems. So I'm expecting to maybe feel like some of these were written by different authors. I just so desperately want to enjoy him. And I think it is just because of the size of his catalogue. I just feel like there's a lot for me to go at. So I want you to tell me the best books that I should go out, where I should maybe prioritise the work. I do read pretty much any genre. I love police procedurals. I love fantasy. I've not really read much horror, but I am willing to give it a go. I just DNF'd my first ever horror book yesterday with Hell House, which, by the way, is absolutely mental. It's about this rich dude who wants to believe in the afterlife, so he sends this kind of medium guy to this haunted house, which used to be used as some sort of like swinger party mansion thing. It's strange. The author just writes in a very weird misogynistic way where like the women are almost sexual objects and there's like pervy ghosts. It just weren't my jazz, but it has opened my eyes to the genre that is horror and it's made me want to read more horror books. So I'm going to talk you through the books that I've currently got, why I have them, what I plan on buying like further down the line, and then you're going to give me recommendations. I'm going to go out and buy them because I'm a sheep and I just want to be liked and loved. So if you tell me a book's really good, 9 times out of 10, I'm just going to go out and buy it to make you happy. So the first book that I have is The Stand. I am actually going to be collecting these. You've seen them before online, I'm sure you have. It's the Hodoscope. They're not special editions, but they just re-released the books with new covers and stuff, and all the side ones, they're all different colours, and when you put them all together, they make a pretty little rainbow, and I just want the pretty little rainbow on my shelf. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Even if I don't enjoy the books, I'm just going to have them on my shelf just because they're pretty to look at, and I can go, and just be like a book perv. So I got The Stand based off recommendations because I go into like Reddit holes where I go onto Reddit and I'll type in best books of all time, best fantasy books of all time, and then I just buy them because, as I said, I'm a sheep. And I typed in Stephen King best books of all time, and in most people's top 5 that were there. The Stand, that's a post-apocalyptic book where I believe like in the coming weeks 99% of the world's population is going to get this super flu that's just going to send them all to Jesus. And it follows a great old bird. This woman's 108-year-old. Her name's Mother Abigail. She should surely be with Jesus already. So I hope she survives this flu, because surely her immune system is going to be absolutely like bankrupt. Like, she gets this flu, she's going to Jesus. And then this other fella called Randall Flagg. Now, I've heard his name before, because I often go onto Reddit and Google best characters of all time for different genres, and his name pops up. I don't believe he's a good guy. I believe he is a bit like morally broken, but I'm all for like morally grey or bad characters, as long as I get some time to like sit with them and the author lets me understand why they are broken, and then you can try and understand them a little bit more. So I am actually excited for this one, but boy is it long. It's 1,200 pages. Now I'm currently about 65-70% through Words of Radiance, which is also 1,200 pages long, and it takes some time. I'm not the quickest reader ever, so I think it's just the sheer girth of this bahook that's put me off reading this so far. So please, please, please tell me if I should read it. If anyone's got it on the TBR and they've not read it yet, I'm more than happy to do buddy reads. Mackenzie, if you do watch this video, I am very aware that me and you need to read the first book in the Malazan series. We will be doing it. I'm just balls deep at the minute into the Words of Radiance, which I know is one of your favourite books, so I'm sure you'll understand. Next up is a book I bought today from Waterstones. I don't always buy my books brand new. 90% of the time I get them used, but I'm easily lured in. I always feel like if I buy a new book from Waterstones and I get a stamp, then I'm closer to a free book. So I went past Waterstones today and I was like, I want to buy another Stephen King book. I also want to collect these books, and I'll then get another stamp to get closer to a free book. So I went and looked at all the pretty rainbow books, and this one was just the one that screamed out at me. I have not read or seen It, the film, or anything like that. I keep trying to convince my wife to watch it, but she's petrified of clowns. So for obvious reasons, she won't watch it with me. Now, I believe, from what people have told me, this is actually a story about like coming of age, young boys living in a community where it's haunted by this thing called It. Now, I always thought It was the clown, which is Pennywise. From what I've read on the back, it can form itself into anything that basically you're scared of. So if you're scared of squirrels, it could turn itself into a squirrel. Or if you're scared of, I don't know, like ice cream vans, it could be an ice cream van. I don't know why you'd be scared of ice cream vans, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it can form itself to scare the shit out of you. And these young kids live in this place where this thing exists, and then they grow older, and then they come back to face it. And that's literally all I know about this story. I just don't understand, again, with Stephen King, how you can make a 1,000-page book out of some adults coming back to face a clown. So I'm sure there's more to it than just some adults coming to face a clown. It's obviously in people's top 10 and top 5 for a reason. And this is, I think, part of the problem when it comes to Stephen King, is I think the reason that his books have not resonated with me so far are definitely a Tyrone problem and not an Esteban problem. Like, it's not Stephen's fault. I think Stephen is a lot of authors' favourite authors and a lot of people's favourite author, and there's obviously a reason. There's obviously something that I'm missing, and that's the purpose of this video, and the purpose of that challenge that I want to set myself this year is I want to learn what it is that he brings to the table, and I want to love it, because he's obviously a highly rated author for a reason, and I don't want to miss out. I've got FOMO. Next up is a book that I know I'm going to love. Green Mile. I've seen the film. John Coffey, As My Old Heart. I know this book's going to rip my heart out. It's going to make me cry. My father-in-law actually recommended this to me. He's read it twice, and he said that it's wicked. He told me that it focuses a lot more as well on the prison system, and gets into the mind of the fella that played Tom Hanks, who can't piss properly. I think he's got like a water infection, and John Coffey like sucks it out of him and stuff, and then does that. So I'm excited even. Sorry. Oh, this is the problem with not editing videos. I'm excited to get into the head of the prison person. You know, the one that plays Tom Hanks, plays Forrest Gump. I'm excited to get in his head and see how it's narrated. And I'm excited to meet John Coffey again and see the similarities between John Coffey in the film and John Coffey in the book. Because John Coffey in the film, 10 out of 10. I just hope they don't ruin it in the book. Next up, I didn't know actually, well obviously I do know it because I've got this book, but I didn't know historically that Stephen King did fantasy books, and I've never considered him to be like a fantasy author. But this was highly recommended. It's another book that's really popular and high on people's top 5s and top 10 Stephen King list. It is a fantasy book about a dude called Charlie Reed. I think he's like a kid. He says it on the back somewhere. I saw it. He's like a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid, and he's got a dog named Radar. I believe they go through some sort of like portal, and it takes them to another world, like a fantasy world. I don't know any more than that, but it's just been highly recommended, and it's 570 pages long, which is not too bad when you look at some of Stephen King's books. Like, that man can write. I'm just hoping, because these books that I've got here, one's nearly 600 pages, one's 1,200 pages, one's 1,000 pages. I'm hoping he's not going to just keep waffling. Like, that's always been my critique with Stephen King, is that a lot of the time he goes over and over and over the same stuff again and again and again. And I don't know if it's because, like, he thinks I'm thick as shit and that I can't understand stuff unless he literally tells me exactly what he wants to tell me, or if it's because I'm missing a trick. So I believe I've got something called aphantasia. Someone told me, I think it might have been one of you, where I can't picture anything in my head. So when authors take a lot of time world building, like if they describe this humongous palace in a big building, it all just looks like the Disney Pixar tower to me. And there's no point telling me, like, about this room. If they say that someone walks into a room and they've got wallpaper and fireplaces and candles and everything like that, to me, they walk into a square box and it's black. Like, it's always just a black box. Sometimes it's not even a black box. They're just floating in midair. They're not even in a room. And I think that's more of a me problem again than a Stephen problem. And that's why I think I rely so heavily on characters, because I don't have to imagine. Like, you can't picture a character's feelings and thoughts, can you? They just are. And that's why I find it easier to focus on really good characters and deep characters than I do epic world building and things like that. So they're the books that I currently own. I'm obviously, as I said, going to be collecting these Hodder books slowly but surely over the coming year. And there's a few more books that I've got that I highly anticipate, but I don't know many of them. I've not done enough research to know, but these are just books that have kind of, from afar, I've thought, I fancy reading you. You might be right up my street. One of them is the Dark Tower series, because I love fantasy books, and a few people have said Wastelands is one of the best books they've ever read. I believe that's like book 3 or 4 in the Dark Tower series. I think I do want to reread Misery, because as I said, I was mentally messed up when I read that book, and I feel like it's not a fair reflection on the book. So I want to read it now that I'm in a slightly different place in my life. Another one is Pet Sematary. I want to read that, and I also want to read, there's another horror book that he does, The Shining. That's really like popular, isn't it? I've not even seen that film. That's about all I've got to say to you in this video. I just need your recommendations. I need you to tell me where I start with this man. I need you to tell me the best books to read, and I need you to tell me like what I need to look out for, because I understand again that this man is written differently in different periods of his life, but there's just no author on planet Earth who I'm like more desperate to love. If you're new to this video, please subscribe. It really helps me out. If you've enjoyed it, smash the like button, comment, all that jazz. If you've watched till this point, I love you the most, and I'll see you in the next one.